Hey homeowners, Shaun Miller here today. We have we're beneath the surface with Covington Dental, and Mark Graves here is the owner. So he's visiting with us, and so what made you want to be a dentist?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Well, I grew up here in Bowling Green, and when I was in high school, my senior year, I did a co-op program at Greenwood High School, and I started working for a local dentist and a pediatric dentist. I thought I was going to be a pediatric dentist at first. Thank goodness those plans didn't work out. Yeah, I thought I was going to be a pediatric dentist, but I stuck to general dentistry and went on some mission trips with my church and shadowed an oral surgeon. And that was when I was in college. And then I just made up my mind, hey, this is what I want to do. And worked hard, went to dental school, and back home now.
Yeah. So high school was where? Greenwood High School. And then college was Louisville, University of Louisville?
That was the dental school, master's in dental school. But I stayed home for college and went to Western.
Okay. And then transferred for the next 2 years and did it Louisville?
Yep.
Or the 3-year program?
4-year program.
4-year program.
Dental school. And then I did a master's degree too. So I spent quite a bit of time up in Louisville.
So there used to be at that time, and maybe there still is, a demand for like pharmacists. Would you say there was a demand for dentists? Because there's a lot of people like getting out of the field, maybe?
I think there's always going to be a demand for dentists, especially now with the growth we're seeing in Bowling Green, Warren County.
Yes.
I think just demand for our area is going to increase pretty much across the board.
Right.
But demand or not, it's what I wanted to do.
Wow.
And so I decided, hey, let's give this a shot. Let's give it a go. And worked really hard, got into dental school, worked, like everybody else does, worked hard to get through it. And then when I graduated, I took a job in Madisonville, Kentucky.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Driving back and forth every day.
From Bowling Green?
From Bowling Green. Wow. That's right after we had our first son, Jake. And, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. So Madisonville, I guess, was there more, how do I say this? Was the teeth thing more critical in Madisonville than here? Or
it was a different type of dentistry.
Yeah.
With the practice I was at.
Yes.
It was a corporate situation. And so that type of practice was a little bit different than my practice now.
I feel for you because that, for whatever reason, that drive to Madisonville, it will put you to sleep.
Yeah.
So it's about early, like driving to Paducah.
Leaving early in the morning, and I just throw on a podcast or an audiobook and do that. So I did that for about a year, and then I worked for another corporate office here in Bowling Green. And again, by that time, we had our second son, Luke. And again, just pay the bills, let's get stuff rolling. And I had my eye out on some practices locally. I always knew I wanted to own my own practice. My parents own their own business. I always wanted to own my own business.
Right.
So I found a lady who was looking to retire. We kind of did a handshake deal, and a year later, she retired. I took over the practice, and I've been running Covington Dental for about 6.5 years now.
So, and how did you find Covington Dental? It's located behind the Walgreens.
That's right. We are on Kenton Street, but the best way I tell people to find us is if you're on the bypass where Walgreens and Taco Bell and KFC are.
Yes.
Our office is directly behind Walgreens, where you get your pharmacy, where the pharmacy is, where you're getting your prescriptions.
So if you were going through like the drive-through to get your prescription filled, you look straight ahead.
That's my office.
And all the parking spots. So that's where you can park, or on the street in front.
Yeah.
So I didn't know it was a female doctor. I was just assumed. So let's back up a little bit. In dental school, what's that ratio? Is it male dominated, females? Is there a good mix?
Over the past years, I think our class or the class before us, historically it's been male dominated.
Right.
I think it was our class or the class before, for the first time, it was a 50-50 ratio.
Wow. So that's changing.
That's changing for sure. Yeah.
So I want to say, first of all, when you go to Covington Dental, there's just a bedside manner there that like you're local, and they make you feel just like you've always been one of their clients. So I had a situation where I had I guess he can help me because he's a doctor, but it was an abscess. I had an extra tooth or something.
It was one of your wisdom teeth. I think it was number 16 up here.
So I never got wisdom teeth. They never cut, but we saw an X-ray. I used to go to a free dental clinic up at Western to get my teeth cleaned back in the day. And I remember they picked that up on an X-ray, and I think it's always showed up, but they never really got the whole thing. And then one time they said, let's look at this closer. And all of a sudden you see this tooth and it's sideways. Well, we never did anything with it because it never broke surface. It wasn't going to go there. Well, one day it came through, and I'm telling you, I was in so much pain.
I remember that.
This guy was at home. It was a Saturday night, maybe.
Was it? Yeah.
Anyway, this is not what happened, but if you can imagine, we probably went back a couple steps on the dentistry because I was in pain. So he's over there like pulling and tugging. I was like, man, I can take it if you'll just get this tooth out of my mouth because it would just kill me. It kind of came through like the side of my gum. Like it didn't come down like a wisdom tooth. It was coming out or in. I can't remember which. Anyway, got it out.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, you were in quite a bit of pain, so we numbed that sucker up, got that baby out.
And got it out. He's up there. He's like, oh, hold on, let me get a little bit better grip.
Just got to get good torque on it and go to town. And it came right out and no issues, thank God. But
and then I was thinking earlier today, so I don't think I had very much wisdom tooth activity. That was one of them, but I was born with a tooth. What have you ever heard of that?
Yeah. A lot of babies can be born with teeth. Yeah.
So I was 3 months premature because I have a twin sister. So I always tell everybody if I'd have been born on time, I'd have had a mouthful of teeth. So. But I don't know. But my mother put that tooth in a baby book. I still have it today, but I was born with a tooth.
Yeah, that's kind of funny. It's cool. Except for the nursing moms, they don't like that. So they can wiggle that thing out, get it out of there.
Oh, woo!
That's really the only issue. But yeah, I've seen babies born with teeth.
So I guess that was a great step. Maybe what the name of whose practice did you?
It was a lady named Tammy Willis,
yes.
And she had been, and her husband practiced with her. His name was Jeff Adams, and they had practiced there for years, and he retired. And she was at retirement age, and she had a long, successful practice, and she was just looking to get into retirement, and I was looking to jump in. And before her, it was actually another guy I'd never met, a guy named Dr. Barr, who used to practice there. He was a kid's dentist, and this goes back to like the 70s and 80s.
Oh, wow.
So that office, even though it's an old house, has been a dental office for like 50 years almost.
Yeah. Neat little layout the way it's done. They've added on, and it's got nice little window views and all that. But what a blessing to be able to pick up a practice like that. Mark and I talk business sometimes, and we've noticed that like private equity are popping up in all these different industries, including mine and his too. And so thank goodness that fell into the hands of somebody local because it'd been a local business and it stayed local.
Correct.
So.
Yes. And we've got a lot of, patients who have been with that office. I've got patients who, I told you about the Dr. Barr guy earlier.
Yeah.
That they were patients of his when they were kids.
Wow.
And then they became patients of Dr. Willis, and now they're patients of mine. So I've had some people who their only dental experience has been in that building. And they've lived through different owners of the practice. Mine
will be, because he helped me when I was in pain, and I didn't really, I was in transition. I really didn't have a dentist, but so anyway, that's what sealed the deal for me because he helped me in a time of need. So I just made up my mind right then and there. Boom, we're going to do it. So, and I have this history of not going to the dentist because I guess we all think we're cavalier and we're rugged, we're single men and bachelors, so we don't pay attention to our teeth. But I visited a dentist, and I used to love the chew tobacco. I probably smoked too many cigarettes back in the day, but I read an article about how if you do something like that sometimes you can get like an air pocket in your gum, and if it passes, it could be a fatal.
Well, yes, if you get an abscess that is large enough, they can get into the bloodstream and it can go to the brain. And I've seen people be in the hospital for that. None of my patients, but I know of certain people that has happened. And
right.
They have. I was in Louisville actually working for a dentist, and one of the maintenance guys there at the building, happened to him, and he wound up in ICU. So
wow.
Keep them clean.
So we had a dentist in the family, and we would see him, and it'd be 10 years before I saw him again. Go and do all your cleaning, try to play all your catch-up game. And so I guess when you're younger, you might. I don't know. That's not a good recipe. I'll just tell you that. So, and then Mark had to come back in and kind of backtrack and like take me, it was 2 to 4 years behind where you probably ought to be on a dental program. And we had to like go through that. So we're doing like pretty regular visits every 90 days or so. And then once we got through the first year and a half of treatment, we felt good about where we're at. And so now it's not so frequent, but
right.
It's a mistake to skip these visits because there's more to it than just, you get up in the morning like, I don't want to go to the dentist today.
Right.
Does not make any sense at all.
Yeah. Well,
so
the thing is, everybody's different.
Right.
I've had people who came in and they haven't been to a dentist in a while, and their teeth look pretty good, but the majority of people, you know, you're going to have some inflammation of the gums and maybe some cavities you didn't know about. But and I've seen, you know, some people, it just like anything, like crawl spaces, you never know what you're going to see once you get under there.
That's true. That's true. The pretty haunted houses, you know, pretty haunted. I wonder what that's like trying to picture on the outside, because I've never had to look in my mouth. He does, you know, but
yeah,
just to be in somebody's mouth, moving your fingers around.
Know,
and
like
I'm like, how do they see? And then what did I eat for lunch? And so did I brush my teeth enough?
I've seen some interesting stuff. I can gross you out with some stories on that. Yeah.
Wow.
But no, that's all right. That's what we're there for. You know, some people come in and they're embarrassed and they say, I haven't seen the dentist in so long. And I'm, you know, really worried about my mouth and I'm embarrassed. I don't want people to see it. And I say, well, that's why I'm here. You know, it doesn't matter. We've seen it all.
Right.
You know, it's not like you're going to surprise me when you open your mouth.
Yeah. You ever seen this before?
I've seen oral
cancer. I think that's what I did. I think
I
was like, have you ever seen somebody that had a tooth coming in sideways? Because that's what I got going on.
Right.
And it split. I think that's where the pain came from, the nerve.
Yes. Yeah. Vertical root fractures hurt pretty bad. So.
Wow. Yeah. So he knew. You knew what you were facing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But came into the office on an off day and like hooked me up. So wow. So I read an article one time that talked about how important your teeth are to like just your facial and just your structure of your face. You know, when you start losing teeth, those things start changing. So
drastically, yes. Yeah. And so a lot of patients who lose posterior teeth their bite can become collapsed.
Right.
You lose what we call video, basically the how high your chin to your nose is, and over time you continue to lose more teeth, especially in the back, and it kind of can be a domino effect. Start losing in the back and it moves forward, your bite will become collapsed. And then, you know, once you go completely edentulous where you no longer have teeth,
right.
You'll have a different change in the facial structure, and that's where the dentures come in.
Right.
And that's where you can get implant supported dentures or just traditional dentures and get them back in there and get more of the structure back to where it was formerly and get the lip support with the dentures, because your face can have that sunken in look sometimes, but there's solutions for that as well.
Right. So earlier when Mark was talking about picking up this practice, and I was sitting there thinking, sometimes you go to like a doctor's office and they're a good doctor, you've known them a long time, but things start getting a little tired in that doctor's office. So it's great to get new blood in the office like you're talking about and get a different perspective, because he's got a younger and a newer technology, newer information. It's not always been the same way, and things aren't done the same way that they used to be. Like,
not at all.
So the epoxies and stuff that they come, I mean, that leaps and bounds.
Yeah, not only that, but recently we bought a new piece of equipment. So instead of, if you're going to come in, I'm going to crown one of your teeth, you know, you get in there, you get that mouth full of impression, and it has to sit there for, seems like all day long.
Right.
But we've got a scanner now.
Oh, wow.
Where we don't even have to take an impression. We just, you open big and we wave the scanner in there, and it creates a 3-dimensional
of your tooth,
of your whole mouth.
Of your whole mouth.
Yeah, a 3-dimensional model of your whole mouth, and then we'll send that on to the labs, and they can 3D print a model of your mouth. We can do different treatment plans with that, or they can just, you know, like I said, for example, we're doing a crown. They'll just go off of a file.
That keeps you from like referring that business to somebody else, right?
Yeah. Well, it keeps me from having to do so many. It's easier for the patients, really, because not taking the impressions, and the scanners are so much more. They pick up so much more detail than an old school impression, and so we still send it to the same labs, but it's just newer technology
which is a great example of what we just talked about.
Yeah, and especially if I've had some patients that are just terrible gaggers. You know, you try to get the X-rays, and then they're all, you know, heaving, and you're worried. So
I thought I was going to, because every dental assistant's a little bit different. They have a different. I came in on they used to have like one day a month. They were Fridays or Saturdays. So Mark's usually open Monday through Thursday.
Monday through Thursday usually.
And usually not open Friday, but sometimes
we work today, but it just depends on the day.
Right. Anyway, she got in my mouth, and she's a great dental hygienist, but man, she went to town. I thought I was pretty tough, but she got done that quick. They don't want to be there too long on Saturdays. So, but, and then you've got one, and I thought I was going to get the gag, you know, like, what am I going to do if I spit this stuff up?
Yeah. Well, it happens, but it's no big deal.
Right.
Like I said, we've seen it all before, but the scanner is great because, you know, you don't have to sit there with that impression in your mouth for 4 or 5 minutes. We just scan it, and if you need a break, we can stop and then go right back and start scanning again.
So I always got a big kick out of I don't know if I had a feeling, or we were building up make sure I got a nerve that's real close to the outside of the tooth. So I don't know what we were doing, but anyway, they had this little light and they put this chemical in your tooth. They hit this light and boom! I'm like, there's no way in 2 seconds that's ready to go. But
yeah,
it
that's
is.
the composite. Yeah, composites are the old school amalgam or the silver fillings, what people are used to getting, and that's you really don't see that much anymore. So you build it up with the composite, and you hit it with the UV light, and it just turns it rock hard just like that after about 20 seconds. But and you can layer that up, build layer by layer,
and then dry it, and then keep
dry it. That's right. Yeah,
I was fascinated. We do with some epoxy stuff here, so anyway, it's just neat to see that stuff work and the engineering kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So, what's it like? Sales reps coming in to see you.
Oh yeah.
So you get a lot of sales reps, and
I get some. There's a front receptionist to catch them. So
yeah, so you got a gatekeeper.
I got a gatekeeper. No, I've got a really good sales rep with one of our suppliers, and he's been the best one we've had the whole time, and he's pretty much he's got my number, and if I need something, he'll text me or I'll text him. We went to Vegas together one time.
Oh, wow.
My wife and I, Rachel, and his wife, they were out there. It was a dental convention, but we hung out with him. So you've got to have a good relationship with those guys because you depend on them.
Right.
And, Ryan's his name. He's great. And so Ryan and I get along great. But, you'll have people come in randomly that they're wanting to sell you an implant. Says, I don't place implants, but somebody will come in and want to talk to you for 30 minutes about how to place implants and buy from us and all that. I try to let the front desk know, hey, I'm with a patient right now.
Right. So I do the same thing here, but everybody's definition of people answering the phone here, we've got all these people answering the phone, but nobody gets through to me.
Yeah.
You know how many sales pitches I get in a day's time, so
you can't handle it all. It's too much.
And if I don't know you, I'm probably not going to be wiring money anywhere for like digital marketing and all this stuff. So it's just complicated. And Mark and I talk about it because there's different needs and there's different. His business is totally different than mine, and so how he reaches his customer might be totally different than mine. So, and that's kind of what this is beneath the surface, just kind of like looking in there. But so I might have to be on Google, and you might have to do. I think Mark he introduced me to concerts in the park.
Yeah, that was a fun way to get involved with the community. Yeah. Are you still doing that?
No.
Yeah,
they stuck us by the port.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, smoking hot, and I don't know.
I enjoyed that. It was fun. We did that for the first couple of years. We'd go out to the concerts in the park or down by Circus Square, and I got a tent, and me and my wife and our 2 boys, we would set up and we would hand out koozies and sunglasses and what were those little glow sticks that you break and hand out to kids?
Extremely popular.
Yeah, just let people know who we are and what we're about. And that was a great way to just, you'd see patients coming by, you'd see, people you hadn't seen. Everybody's at concert in the park.
Right. I guess we tried to track the lead show a little bit. Anyway, it just got so hot, and we tried to do all of them. And I think if you do that, you probably should try to do them all.
That's why. That's probably how I got burnt out on it. It's a great event, and we still go on Fridays. But usually by that time, especially as our boys were getting older, we were like, "Hey, these Friday nights need to be more for family."
Right.
And so, we'll go now, but we go as a spectator, just hanging out with everybody else, not handing out.
Which is kind of cool.
That's good. Yeah. But it was fun when we did it. We had a good time.
So you got 2 boys, a 9-year-old and a
7-year-old, Jake and Luke. 9 and 7, and my wife, her name's Rachel.
Yeah.
And we grew up together, graduated high school together. We were the same school. We were like the same kindergarten class.
Awesome.
So, but we were not like high school sweethearts or anything.
Right.
We didn't start dating till the very end of college.
Right. Probably better that you weren't.
Yeah, that's what we say. That's what we say.
Yeah, that's what I tell my wife now. I should have just married you the first time I met you. She said I wasn't ready yet. So. I said, you would have been.
It's all about timing. So
it is.
Rachel and I, we grew up together, knew who each other were, and of course she's from Bowling Green, and like I said, went to Greenwood, graduated the same year, and we just kind of went our separate ways when we were young. I was busy with different stuff that she was busy with, and I guess once we wrapped up and it was the end of college, we were running around downtown one night and ran into each other, and the rest is history.
Wow. That's I'd always meet my wife when I came back home for homecoming, and for whatever reason we'd always run into each other. So that's pretty neat how that works. So
absolutely,
and it's almost a destiny, and it's just better. I mean, kind of like the ones that last are kind of like that, somebody you kind of knew, whatever, and then you kind of just get together and boom, there it is.
Yeah,
so,
it's been great.
I know everybody's running around looking for their soulmate. Well, a lot of times you already know who it is. You just hadn't been open to it, or maybe hadn't run into them back again.
In the right situation or something. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So, and then other people are making bad decisions. So that's great. So, so what is Covington Dental? What's future? What is the whole? What does it look like? Is it you going to stay in that same location forever? Or?
I think right now we're pretty good where we are.
Yeah.
We're having good steady growth, and I've just been very fortunate. I've got the number one thing I want to brag on right now is it's not just me in that office. I have in my opinion, the best staff in town. I've got great hygienists, great assistants, great office manager and front desk. So my staff is aware of what I want for the patients and what I want for the image of Covington Dental. That's a big part of it.
Right.
Your staff has to reflect,
the culture,
correct,
the vision,
yeah. And so my staff is great, and just like any business, I bought the practice from a lady, and it was a smaller practice, which is fine. That's what I wanted. But we're slowly growing, and I don't see us leaving our spot yet. Maybe an addition or something down the road, hopefully.
Right.
But we're in a good spot right now. I'm happy where we are. Those first couple of years are tough, for anybody in any business when you start out brand new. But you just, I know we've talked about that before. I've talked to other people who are dentists and other types of industry. You just got to stick it out.
Right.
You got to play the long game.
Because it's, I guess there's a price to pay. Sometimes you might be in a medical practice, and I'm not a doctor, I'm not a dentist, but there comes a point where, like, if you let investors into your outfit, that whole dynamic changes where you're farming these people.
It changes a lot, and that's not, like I said, I've worked for 2 different corporate dentistry entities before I was able to own my own practice, and that's not going to be an issue with me. I'm just going to own my own practices. And
so share that with us. So what is that vision? What is that culture? What do you want that customer experience?
Basically, I just want every patient to just feel welcome and to feel comfortable. I know it's not a comfortable place to be.
Right.
I've had my own dental experiences. My front tooth's an implant. That's another story we could talk about another time.
Right.
I didn't have a front tooth when I met my wife, Rachel, and I had a little thing called a flipper. And so it would come in and out, and then I got the dental implant and all is good. But I understand what it's like to be in that chair, because I've got an interesting story about what happened to me. And I know it can be uncomfortable. So, like I said, we're a smaller style office. There's not a bunch of doctors running around. It's just myself. Every once in a while, if I happen to be on vacation, I might have a friend cover for me.
Right.
But it's just me and my hygienist. And, right now we're having good, steady growth. I don't plan on ever going into the big, huge, crazy, big building or any of the corporate stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that. For some people that works well. For me, I like to stay where I've had people call me and say, "Oh, are you taking an emergency? They broke a tooth." I said, "I called my dentist. I can't get in for 3 weeks."
Yeah.
Well,
what's up with that phone call? Oh, we're not accepting new patients.
Yeah.
Like, really? Wow.
Yeah. So
no matter what,
we want to be
cash.
available, especially if somebody's in an emergency situation. We may not get you in that day or the next day, but we're not waiting 3 weeks.
Right. So I'm just, when he said that, it popped in my mind, I go see an audiologist wear hearing aids. And so I don't go to a corporate office anymore because I'm a very educated wearer. And so I just have this relationship with Jeffrey Barefoot, who's an and I've known him forever. And so I go to him. So I don't go to the biggest, and I might not go to the smallest. It's usually one of those guys kind of in the middle in their local. So it's a big deal that we can talk business and talk shop just a little bit. And anyways, that's what we do.
Yeah.
And so
it's fun. Some of my favorite stories about my practice that I have now are, I can't say their names for HIPAA or anything, but, my elementary school music teacher,
right.
One of my high school teachers, people I used to go to church with.
Wow. So your peers are coming back in and you're helping them.
Yeah. My elementary school principal and just my 6th grade teacher, I saw her and we did some work on her. It's fun to do that. It's fun to have.
I'm a contractor. I hate working for people I know. It's easier for me to work for somebody I don't know.
Yeah. I get that too. But
right.
it's fun to walk into your office and Again, it's a more of a, I don't know, it's a hometown feel or whatever you want to call that, you know. And I
It is.
see people growing, people I grew up with coming back, and there's nothing better than that, taking care of people who you've known your whole life and who have looked out for you.
And everybody likes knowing somebody like that, because it's very easy when you go in, you know, to that situation. So I know a dentist or I know a doctor, and just knowing you, I think, is a big deal. So what's your life like? Is it early and late days? I know your wife helps out, Rachel. She helps out a lot. So
it's life is just crazy with two boys. First of all,
right
at this age, right now, you know, summer's here and we're out of school. Usually, so the thing about my office that I think a lot of patients like, things that I like, is we start at 7:00 in the morning.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so most of my girls are there at 6:45. We open the doors, you know, get everything ready before, you know, patients start arriving. But we start at 7, and then we work till 4, and so we try to shift that down an hour. So we're not. A lot of my staff, you know, live on the other side of the county or whatever. So they don't
traffic.
The traffic takes up an hour for some of these.
Well, who would have thought? I didn't think dentists came into work that early. And a lot of them don't. They probably work 9 to 3. Or 2.
Yeah, I'm sure there are.
Right.
But no, we come in early, and then, you know, right after that, you know, leaving 4:30ish, 5:00 sometimes, usually on a later day. But then it's go home, get the boys. Are we doing any kind of ball practice? Are we doing any kind of other things like that? And then, you know, my wife and I we take the boys up to the lake when we can. Obviously, it's a terrible time right now. It's flooded. But, you know, life is busy. Life is good. I'm involved with a nonprofit through Warren County Parks and Recreation. That's a great thing that we're doing. I'm on, and I work closely with them. So
yes, I remember that.
Yeah. So we've started a nonprofit. It's called Friends of Warren County Parks and Rec.
Yes.
And that is a nonprofit. There are a lot of kids. You know, I grew up playing sports at Parks and Rec.
Right.
When I was a kid. You know, I played whatever I wanted: baseball, you know, soccer, football. I love football. And but as I've gotten to talk to some of the people at Warren County Parks, there's a need for a lot of members of our community who just simply can't afford to pay for registration fees for their kids, especially if, you know, they're living below the poverty level or right at it, and they can't afford for one, let alone 2 or 3 kids to play sports. And so we are creating a nonprofit so that way we can use those funds to help children who wouldn't otherwise be able to go out and play sports to do that.
Yeah,
so
I mean, we're talking about the price of eggs. So you buy eggs or do you buy a ball glove? You know,
right? No, that's the reality for a lot of people,
and they need that exposure. You know, that's maybe where you learn that not everybody likes you. Maybe there's a couple people on your team, and you got to learn to get along with those people. So it's real life, and
that's right. And it's important for kids, and kids just need to be kids, and they need the opportunity to be able to play sports. And we've got a wonderful Parks and Rec program here, Chris Cummer and his whole team. And we want to support that as much as possible. So we just got incorporated really.
So there's recently. A need there because we don't have like the YMCA like a lot of communities do.
Right.
So I agree with what you're saying, and it's thank you for doing that, not being selfish with your time or your funds.
It's just something that I've just wanted to do, and I've talked to the board with. I've also got an amazing board members for our organization. And we're all in this together, and we're just wanting to help the community out in some way. It's not a big deal, but if it can help some kids go play ball, or, you know, give them that social interaction, or just that time away from home to play with their buddies and go out there and play some sports. You know, that's what we're here to do. Just help them out a little bit and
be a game changer, whether it's a week at camp or a season, you know, playing baseball, and maybe they didn't know they could play baseball. You know?
Right. So, yeah. You never know what kind of hidden talents out there in the community that
got a mean curveball or
yeah, that's right. A good layup.
Mark, thank you for visiting with us today. So that's a little bit about Mark Graves. We've exposed him a little bit, talked about his practice. He's located on Kenton Street, Covington Dental. What's your website address?
I believe it's just covingtondentalbg.com, I believe.
Right. Okay. He doesn't go there very often. It's like knowing your own phone number, but you can look him up online, Covington Dental. You can reach out to them by telephone.
Yeah,
What's your old phone number?
It's 270-782-8010.
So if you need a great local dentist that maybe on the fresher side, maybe on the way in instead of on the way out, and you want to get a fresh take on things, get a good bedside manner and that local feel that you're going to get from a dentist, Mark's definitely a great dentist to consider. So he's right in the middle of town. There's, the busiest intersection, which is with the bypass and what's it?
31W.
31W, yeah. And what's the cross street? Broadway?
Yeah, where Scottsville Road turns into Broadway.
So if you know where that Walgreens is, just right behind there, go in and get yourself a parking spot, come in and visit with them maybe and see if they can help you out. But and again, he's a supporter of local cause and these nonprofits, and we're glad to have you as part of our community, and thank you for what you do.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate the time.
Bowling Green.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. It's home.
That's all right. So we're going to visit with Mark again one day in the future. Until then, thank you for joining us today, and we'll see you next time.